Yo, so the funny thing was my grandpa, right? I was at that age where it's like, yo, it's time to buy your first car. He gave me money to buy my first car. I went out and went on eBay and bought an MPC 2000. And he looked at me like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, you were supposed to get a vehicle. Why the heck did you get a drum machine? And it's funny, like, looking back at that and then seeing, like, where I am today, it was like, yo, it was worth it. It was the right call.
1, 2, yeah. Come on. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, sir, you are tuned in. This is for the SB 1200, ASR 10s and NPC heroes. This is for the crate digging, loop getting, sound manipulators, the Fruity Loop reasoning machine innovators that pump the bass and frequently freak the kick in a stand till it slaps in your speakers. The sound providers that make sure the song is tight. Shout out to the producers, beats grinding live. Shout out to the producers, beats grinding live.
Welcome to the Beats Grinding Life podcast with your host Siren, a weekly interview podcast with inspiring music producers, where every week you will learn from a different music producer how to potentially take your music career to the next level.
Today's episode of Beats Grinding Life is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audio download and 30-day free trial at beatsbooks.com. Over 180,000 titles to choose from on your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Some recommended readings by past Beats Grinding Life guests like 48 Laws of Power, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, The Secret, Tools of Titans, and The Song Machine are all available with Audible. Once again, go to beatsbooks.com to get your free book. What's up, Beat Grinders? This is another episode of Beats Grinding Life. I'm your host, Siren Beats, and with us today we have Logic the Beatman.
Yo. What's going on, everybody?
All right, y'all. Well, Logic the Beatman is a music producer and audio engineer from Williamstown, New Jersey, now based out of the Philadelphia area. They don't call him Beatman for nothing. He is a 3-time Beat Showcase winner and works out of Repercussion Studios in Philadelphia. His credits include Shawn Smith, A.R.Eb, O.T. The Real, Quilli, Atiba Halisi, and many more. Yo, what up, man?
What's going on, bruh?
Man, I am so good, man. Just that I'm great. I'm feeling great because I have you up on the show, man. You know, I got to learn who you are not too long ago, man. And You've been doing some great things out of Philly, man.
Yo, appreciate that, man. Shout out to Chris Cars.
Yes. Shout out to Chris Cars, past Beats Grinding Life guest, man.
Yes, sir.
So, thank you for hooking
That's
this up,
homie.
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt, man. All right, man. Well, hey, you know what? I just read a brief intro on you, man. Why don't you just let the Beat Grinders know just a little bit more about who you are?
Yeah, so the name's AJ, professionally known as Logic the Beatman. Been producing for over a decade. It started out on various drum machines. Now working, of course, obviously with software, and we'll get into that more later. But yeah, I don't really have a genre that I stick to. It's mainly just however I feel that day is the type of beat that you're going to get from me. I mean,
I'm feeling that. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, man. You definitely don't want to, put yourself in a box or anything like that.
At all.
And it probably extends a little more than that. You probably just drawn inspiration from so many different places that, you just have all of that in you, man. That's what's up.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, here on Beats Grinding Life, man, we always start with history. We want to know what got you into music, what got you into music production. And, man, I want to know how did it start for Logic the Beatman?
So production in particular, I'm like, music was instilled in me from like a super young age. Like my dad is a DJ, still is a DJ, and my mom was an MC. So like that should give you a little bit of background. Like they got video of me 2 years old, like scratching records. Like,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, from a young age, music was always that thing that it was like, all right, this is what my dad is doing. I'm trying to be like my dad.
Right.
So I got to learn how to scratch, and DJing is how I really got started. When it came to production, I tell this story all the time. It was in high school. Wanted to be down with this rap crew so bad, because back then I was like rapping heavy. I still rap now, but back then it was like super heavy.
Okay.
And wanted to be down with this crew so bad, and they was like, yo, we're gonna come pick you up for a studio session, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, cool, bruh. It's been like however many years later, and I'm still waiting for them to come pick me up. I mean, so ever since that day, I was like, you wanna know something? I'm not gonna rely on nobody else for anything. Like, I'm gonna teach myself how to produce, I'm gonna teach myself how to engineer, and here we are today.
That's what's up, man. I mean,
yeah.
It's funny how, those, we talk about setbacks here on the show a lot, but that setback, it didn't make you tuck your tail, and go and do something else. It made you stronger. So that's what's up, man. Well,
appreciate it.
Where'd you learn how to mix records and become an audio engineer?
Really, that came from trial and error, for real. I don't know what the heck just happened with my lights. But yeah, it came from trial and error. A lot of mistakes, not gonna lie. A whole lot of mistakes, but just over time. And I had like a lot of great mentors. My one mentor, Ron Jacob, he saw potential in me from a very, very young age. Like, and he's my barber as well. And I'm like, everybody has like that one barber that either is in the music production world somehow, some way, or he's an artist. And he just so happened to have a recording studio or like a setup in the barbershop that nobody was allowed to have access to. It was like just his little setup away from the house, to where in between cuts he can knock some beats out. And he heard that I was making beats on the 909, the Roland 909. And he was like, yo, so you want to like take this thing serious? Threw me in the room and said, yo, figure it out, and walked away. Wow. Like, that was super dope. Yeah. So that was like one of the key moments where it was like, all right, here's all of this equipment. I'm like, he had a crazy setup back then. He still has a crazy setup now. But like, allowing me to get my hands on the machines and make the mistakes myself, and then show me what I did wrong afterwards, like really helped out. And he's just one of many mentors, but he was like the first one to really take me under his wing. That's what's up, man. That's awesome right there. That's a great story, man. I mean, that's kind of like it just reminded me of some Mr. Miyagi shit right there, man. Yo, that's exactly right. Like, I didn't even think of it like that. Like, that's so true. That's so true. Man, well, I mean, you said he was a great mentor to you. I was going to ask you, how did you seek out your mentor? But I mean, it just seems like it was just meant to happen. He was your barber. Yeah, it was meant to happen. He heard about you. But I mean, can you speak on the importance of having a mentor and how that can help some young producers out? Definitely for the young producers, it's one thing to go on YouTube and to look up the tutorials. And by all means, I'm not knocking that at all, because I still did that even when I had a mentor. That type of outreach is important. But when it comes to having somebody that can hold you accountable, there's nothing that matches that at all. Having that person that at any moment you can reach out and ask a custom question, is super key, and then get the custom answer back. Like, somebody that knows where exactly you are in your production skill set, can give you that direct answer and just be like, yo, this is what you need right now. Yeah, there's nothing to replace that. And Beat Grinders, you guys, the listeners that have heard the show before, you guys know that, we like to call this a mentorship, because you get to listen to so many other producers and their stories, trial and error. But
but I mean, there's nothing that beats the hands-on, in-person mentorship. So, you know, you guys definitely take this man's advice and go seek out somebody. So,
yep.
All right, man. All right, man. Well, you know, you talked about the legendary Roland 909 piece that you had, man. Was that
classic?
Man. Was that the first piece of equipment that you had?
Yep, and it was my dad's.
Dope.
He literally said, "You want to make beats? All right, cool. Learn this again. Learn the machine. Here it is." And he knew how to, of course, hit the buttons on it, because it wasn't pads; they were buttons.
Right.
To hit the buttons on there, but he didn't really know how to sequence on it. So when I found out how to sequence, and then I had it was a DJ mixer that had a 8-second sampler button on it.
Right.
So I would take records, get the sample, load it up on the sampler, then put drums to it, then record it on cassette. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Well, man, I mean, you know, it seems like, I mean, so you taught him how to sequence on there?
I did.
That's
And he'll tell you that too. Like, he won't deny it.
That's what's up, man. Well, you know, he got something out of that, and so did you, man. You guys both got a reward.
100%.
And man, that's how, you know, I started. Me and my brothers, you know, we had a Boss Dr. Groove beat machine, and it didn't have a sampler in there, and I wanted to, you know, I was heavily influenced by producers that sample, so we had the same thing, a DJ mixer with I can't remember how long the sampler was on there, but yeah, we just pressed that button, sample records, and then put drums over and record it, man. So
Yep, and that's where it started.
Okay, that's what's up, man. Well, when you were on that 808, when you first got on there, I'm sure your dad was a heavy influence on you, but who were some of the other producers that inspired you?
Pharrell, 100%,
Nice.
and the Neptunes as a collective. What they did, especially, of course, in the hip hop scene, but when I saw how versatile they could be when they dropped the NERD stuff, that was a huge inspiration. I'm like, of course, Swiss with the whole Rough Riders movement, Timberland with everything that he touched. I'm like, and of course, I'm like, I can't name these names and not name my biggest inspiration, which is Dilla. And I know a lot of people say that, but like Dilla, I caught on the Dilla late. And unfortunately, I caught on the Dilla after he passed. So it was like starting out, because he died 2006, right? I believe it was 2006, and that was when I graduated high school. So my 10th, 11th grade year, I was still figuring stuff out. And then like my senior year was when I like really got into Dilla heavy. That's also when I bought my first MPC.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Nice. Okay. Those are some great influences right there, man. I mean, all those guys are legends. You know, all those guys have influenced many of us. That's why we hold them, you know, so high. And so that's what's up, man. What kind of MPC did you get when you bought your first MPC?
Yo, so the funny thing was, my grandpa, right? I was at that age where it's like, yo, it's time to buy your first car. He gave me money to buy my first car. I went out and went on eBay and bought an MPC 2000. And he looked at me like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, you were supposed to get a vehicle. Why the heck did you get a drum machine? And it's funny, like looking back at that and then seeing like where I am today, it was like, yo, it was worth it. It was the right call.
Yep. You are definitely a producer.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. But yeah, I bought the MPC 2000, not the XL, the regular 2000.
Okay. That's funny, man. That's a great story right there. I mean, everyone in the world would look at you crazy except for artists, you know?
Yo, even in high school, people was like, yo, you had the money to buy a car?
Right.
Like, we're trying to go to parties, we're trying to do this, that, and the third, and you got a drum machine so you can be in the basement. It's like, yeah, 100%, and I'm gonna figure this joint out too.
Yep. Sacrifices, man. No one else is gonna understand that, man, unless you're goal driven, you know, goal oriented, man. So That's what's up, man. All right, man. Well, I'm loving that, man. We're peeling back the onion on you, man, and instead of it making us cry, man, it's definitely making us like you more and more, man. I'm loving your story, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. All right, man. Well, here on Beats Grinding Life, man, if you're familiar with the show, man, you know that it's not all about having a good time. We love having a great time on here, and you talked about some of the setbacks that you've had or failures, man. I just want you to deep dive into that just a little more, man. I want you to tell us about a major setback or a major failure that you've had coming up in this game that you can tell us that you were able to bounce back from.
A major setback. All right, here we go. So every producer's dream is to do music full time, right?
Right.
So fresh out of college, had a couple jobs, and I was just like, yo, like this just, I just want to do music full time. Like, I've been doing this long enough. It's time to do music full time. So I quit my job, right? At this time, I'm still living at home. So it's like, even if I do have a huge setback, it won't be that big of a deal.
Right.
But what that showed me, and like, it really opened up my eyes, was I found myself selling myself short when it came to the value of my production. I got to a point, and I did it for like an entire year. I got to a point where I was just selling beats just to get the bills paid, instead of trying to build relationships and trying to basically build relationships that would last me past a certain a point of sale, basically. So yeah, taking that year off, taking a year off from work and just doing music full time, it was definitely a learning experience that I didn't expect to happen at all. Like and during that time, computer crashed, and I'm pretty sure like other producers have said that too. Like, and so you get to a point where it's like, yo, I put so much emphasis on doing this solely, but now I have nothing, like, at all. I have no computer, I got no anything, and it's like, all right, now what? Oh, so man. So that was a huge setback. How I got back from it was, I just started to, I had to look myself in the mirror and say, yo, what you have to offer is valuable. You got to treat yourself like that. And other producers that are listening to, like, yes, the music production game is very saturated right now, but you as an individual have value to an artist, value to a label, if that's the route that you want to take. And if you treat your business like that, and if you treat going into your production like that, I'm like, it is going to take you mad far.
Wow.
And I wish I would have learned that early. Like, I wish I would have learned that early, but I'm like, it all comes down to the battle scars that you got and how you can bounce back from them.
Right. That's dope, man. That's a gem right there, man. Well, I gotta ask you, when you quit your job, you're living with your parents. So I mean, your bills weren't really too high. So I mean, you were allowed to take time and build relationships. And I didn't. And you didn't choose that route. So
nope.
I mean,
nope.
But if you were on your own, in your own apartment, let's say, you probably wouldn't have the choice. You probably have to take that fast money, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Man, so I don't know where I was going with that one, but I mean, if you went back, I'm sure if you went back, you'd probably definitely do it a little differently. But if you did go back and you were in your own apartment, would you do it different? I mean, would you take the fast money just because you have more bills? Or I mean,
the wild part is, even if I had to do that over, I would still do it the same.
Right.
Because it was a personal thing. Like, it had to, where I was at in my life then, I thought I was the stuff. Like, couldn't nobody tell me nothing about my production at all. And then when it came time to really present myself to the marketplace, I'm coming into the marketplace fresh. I had a handful of artists that I worked with solely, but I wasn't charging them at the time.
Right.
So now it's like, oh, I need that bread. And they're just like, well, nah.
We haven't been paying this whole time.
Yeah, I haven't been paying this whole time. Like, it just changed overnight. But nah, I would do it honestly exactly the same, because it really did. It was a personal learning experience for myself that, it's not just going to be handed to you just because you're good.
Right. Right.
And it taught me it gave me a certain hunger and a certain grind that I think if I would have done it differently, I wouldn't have that hunger that I have now.
Right. Okay. Well, man, that's what's up, man. Well, I gotta ask you. I mean, this is a personal question for me, but I'm sure it will help some beat grinders out there. I know I work with some artists, and and they, I've worked with them for free because I was on the come up or whatever. And how do you cross that barrier to where you're saying, okay, hey, you're taking up a lot of my time now. And so, when I'm coming up, you're coming up, but how do you ask people for compensation? I'm
like, from the jump, even if it's not monetary, there still should be some type of gain from each party.
Right.
Even if it's not money, there should be something coming out of it.
Right.
And if you can't agree to that up front, then I'm like, the relationship is gonna get weird.
Right. Yeah. For sure. I can see that for sure. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that, man, and thank you for the story that you had on your setback.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Just you just have to respect yourself a little more and know your value, like you said. And then with the computer crashing, you definitely had to
that is the worst thing ever that could ever happen to it. And that was at the time, of course. You switch over from the hardware and you move over to the software, because at that point, that was, especially with uploading music. It was too much of a hassle to continue on the MP. Right. But yeah, when that happened, I sure enough looked at the MP and was like, well, guess we're gonna be rocking out for a little bit.
That's what's up. At least you had something to fall back on.
Right.
Okay, man. Well, we're gonna hop on the other side of that, man. I want to know, what was the greatest moment in your career? What would you consider your crowning achievement?
Greatest moment in my career was hearing my one of the records that I produced on the radio.
That's dope. What record was it?
So it was Shawn Smith's Heaven record. And first off, it got placed on the Joe Budden podcast, that's a podcast I listen to like every single week.
Right.
And to hear something that I produced, and then to watch three people that like I look up to react a certain way to something that I was a part of was like huge. And then fast forward a little bit, and then I'm listening to the radio, and I was told that it was going to be played, but actually hearing it was, couldn't even explain it. I'm just sitting in my car, like in tears, like, what? This really happened?
Wow. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Wow, that's a dope experience, man. Beat grinders, if you guys haven't had that happen to you yet, I hope that you use this as a driving force, as a motivator to get to that moment, man. There's no feeling like that hearing your record on the radio. So
it's no feeling. I listen to my stuff all the time in the car.
Right.
Like, but hearing the DJ playing it, and then he keeps running that joint back, and it's just like, come on, man. Come on.
That's even better if he keeps running it back.
He ran that joint back like twice.
Damn.
I was just like,
Okay. All right. Well, I want to know, man, what does a typical day look like for you? Because here on Beats Grinding Life, we do know that if you want to be great, you must follow the greats. You must do what they do. And so if you can tell us what your typical day looks like, man, maybe we can mold our day after yours and become just as great as you.
Yeah, honestly, my day is real regular. Like super regular. My day to day, I have a 9 to 5 currently.
Okay.
So I'm there. Then once I get off, 9 times out of 10 have a session at Repercussion Studios. So I'm working there, working with artists, building relationships. And then the awesome part with being an engineer is that I'm also a producer. So it's like the rappers are literally right there. Right. And every time I send them their music in my email, guess what's there? The Beat website. Nice. Yeah. So I'm like, and then in between sessions, I'm making beats. But honestly, I really haven't had a lot of time to just cook up like just beats at all. I'm working on a few projects and they're direct. And once I finish those, I'll probably have some more free time, but it's literally go to work, come home, spend time with the family, of course, because that's like uber important. Just had a daughter 5 months ago, so like spending that time. Yo, appreciate that. Spending time with her and my wife is like crucial, and then going to the studio after I got that recharge, and yeah, just getting to it. Okay,
that's what's up, man. I mean, so is your 9 to 5 a literal 9 to 5? You're getting off at 5 o'clock?
No, 6:30 to 3.
Okay, that's what's up. 6:30 to 3. Spend time with the fam, and then you're in the studio by what time?
At the studio by 5 o'clock.
By 5 o'clock. Okay, and then you're in the studio until about
5 until.
5 until. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you go to bed and do it all over again.
Yep. Like last night, I was at the studio 5 o'clock and got out at 3.
Wow.
Yep, and then was up at 7. And that's like a normal thing. I'm like, not getting sleep is pretty normal at this point. And I feel like it's gonna happen this year 100%, where I'm gonna be forced to walk away from the 9 to 5, which that's all fine. I'm definitely for it, and I'm ready.
Right.
But just with a family, I have more responsibility now, so I got to move a little smarter.
Right. Definitely, man. Definitely. Okay. Well, that's what's up, man. Well, thank you for laying out your day. And I mean, that's for some of these beat grinders listening. I mean, a lot of us are on the come up. And so, we do have 9 to 5s, and so that's great to hear. Yeah. Your grind. So.
Yeah, you need that equipment money, bruh.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about that.
You need that carefree equipment money.
Yeah. Okay, man. Well, this next portion of the interview is called In the Studio. Right now, I'm looking at your studio. It looks very comfortable. It looks like, can bang out a lot of tracks in there. But unfortunately, I'm here in Portland, Oregon, so I can't make it over there. And all the beat grinders, they're all over the world, and they can't make it over there either. So the next best thing is this portion, man, where we get to find out what you do in the studio, how you do it, and what you do it with. So, all right, man, I want to know, what do you do when you first start crafting beats? Do you have a set ritual or anything?
Not really. It's really, and like I said this earlier, it goes off of however I'm feeling at that day. Like if I'm feeling down, I guess I'm gonna make some sad beats. If I'm feeling angry, like guarantee you some aggressive stuff is gonna come out. So I really use my emotion to fuel which direction I'm gonna go in. So that's like first, and that's really just my day-to-day activity. However I'm feeling, bring that into the session. And usually I don't start with drums. Every now and then I will, but I like starting with I'm definitely a sample guy, and I love chopping up samples to the point where you can't even recognize where it came from. So I'm chopping up samples, then adding drums, and then I work with a lot of musicians. I have a core set of musicians. Sean Lowe, shout out to you. Khalil, shout out to you. Chris Cars, definitely shout out to you. But yeah, those are like the set musicians that like I'm working with right now. So I'll create something. I'll try to play some stuff. I can play a little bit of keys by ear. But it's something about just having somebody that's just trained.
Right.
And I know that's my Achilles heel. Achilles heel is that I'm not trained on piano. I'm actually about to take lessons.
Dope.
But yeah, then to send it off to the musicians, give them somewhat of a direction, but I love just sending it and just do what you do and send it back. Right. And then even when they send it back, I'm still chopping it up like it would be another sample. Nice. And then repitching it, reversing it, adding reverbs, like all that stuff.
Dope, man. That's awesome, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay. All right, man. Well, what was I gonna say here? There was something that you said earlier that caught my ear, and I'll have to come back to it. But okay. All right, man. Well, what's a not so secret weapon that you have in the studio?
Not so secret weapon. Key finder.
Key finder? Oh man, that's what's up, man. Okay.
Yeah, you ever heard of that, John?
I haven't. I don't know if I heard of that, but I've heard of something similar. Is that an app on your phone, or is that something you have on your computer? Or?
No, it's something on the computer, and it's a standalone software. And the awesome part about this software is that it's 100% free. I've donated to the company because they definitely take donations, but it's one of those things where you buy a new drum kit, and if it's not from Splice and it doesn't have the keys of the 808s or the keys of the samples, I really use it on my 808s. You literally open the folder, open the program, drag and drop it in there, and it gives you the key of it, but you can set up the software to where it will write that key information on the file, so that when you open it up into your DAW, the key will be there. So when you drop it into whatever DAW you're using, whether it's Logic and you're dumping it in the EXX, Ableton and you're dumping it into a simpler or a sampler, you have that key information so that you can mark it in the right key, and then boom, you can get going and everything's in the right key. So yeah, key finder is like super clutch. It's one of those things, as soon as I grab a drum kit and I see 808s or samples are in it, I'm dumping it right in the key finder, so that when I'm being creative, I'm not having to be technical, and it doesn't take away from the vibe. Right. It's just the information is right there.
Dope, super dope. Thank you for sharing that, man. Really appreciate
absolutely.
That.
I feel like a lot of people know about that, but there may be a good handful that don't know, so that's definitely my treat to y'all.
Okay, well, I'm definitely one of those that don't know, and so thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, man. Well, you got to tell us what else is up in there, man. Tell us what's all in your arsenal these days. What all do you have in the studio?
So right now for production, I'm solely working in Ableton Live. Okay. Made that switch. So since y'all basically know almost the whole history of what I used, went from the 909 to the MPC to Logic Pro. Was on Logic Pro for a long time. Like I was on there since the academic version of 8.
Wow.
And no, the academic version is 7. I'm sorry. Okay. And they're on 10 now. And then switched over to Ableton because I just saw, especially with Ableton 9, there was something that the company did with that software that was different from the other ones. Because I tried Live 4 and that thing was horrible. Like it was more geared towards a DJ and DJing live sets. But with 9, it was totally focused on production. And I saw a lot of the people in the, I followed the Selection camp, and a lot of those guys was using Ableton, and I was just in love with that sound. So I'm just like, yo, maybe I can get closer to that process if I switch DAW. So I tried it, switched back and forth, but then I literally moved every single Logic Pro file that I had onto a hard drive off of the computer, deleted all like the software in its entirety off of the computer.
Serious.
And was like, yo, we're committing to Ableton. And now use Ableton Live 10. I have the Push 1.
Nice.
I wanted to upgrade to the 2, but it was one of, like, as soon as I finished paying off the first one, the 2 dropped. Right. So I'm just like, oh, seriously? Right. So I'm gonna wait for the 3. Like, I'm not gonna get the 2.
Right. I hear you.
So I work off of the Push 1. Have various MIDI keyboards. The interface I use is the Apollo Twin, the Duo. And that's really it. A whole bunch of drum sample libraries, a whole bunch of different VSTs and stuff like that.
Okay, man. That's what's up. Well, where do you get your, you said that you're a sampler. Where do you get your samples from? Are you...
I still dig for vinyl.
Awesome.
I still dig for vinyl. Of course, YouTube is definitely a very convenient tool. And there's a lot of sample packs out there too.
Right.
But it's something about just going in the store, that smell of vinyl.
Yes.
Touching the vinyl and then like picking out that sample just because you think it has a cool cover.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Nothing beats that, man. Nothing beats that.
Absolutely. So, you can spend a whole day in a dollar bin.
Yeah, right. That's for sure, man. All right, man. Well, thank you for sharing, everything that's in your studio. Beat Grinders, if there's anything that perked your interest, please go to beatsgrindinlife.com and check under Logic the Beatman show notes. I will have links for everything that you mentioned there.
Bet.
All right, man. Well, this next portion is called In the Mix. We're just going to speed things...
In the mix.
We're just going to speed things up just a little bit, man.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you some questions. You just spit them back to me. But if you need to take your time, man, please do. So,
all right.
I want to know, man... I think you already answered this. You may have answered it a few times, but I'm just gonna answer. I'm gonna ask it anyway. Do you prefer making beats with samples or without?
But when it comes to publishing, I'm definitely trying to do without.
Nice. And I think that's where the piano lessons are gonna come in, right?
Indeed. See, you get it.
That's what's up, man. I know you're excited about that because that's just gonna take your game up just a few notches, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Piano. And it's one of them things too. Like I said, I work with a lot of musicians, and they definitely get where I want to get my sound to. But it's one of them things where sometimes if I'm in an emotion and I can't verbalize how I'm feeling, it would be amazing to just touch the keyboard and just let it out. Right. I gotta draw the MIDI in. The good thing with the push is that you can lock it into a certain key and then play. So that's like super useful too. Yeah. But yeah, I want to know the theory and all of that stuff. So yeah, when it comes to publishing, I'm definitely finna learn.
That's what's up. What I meant to ask you earlier and I couldn't remember, but it just came back to me, man. Is you said that the type of beat that's gonna come out for that day is based on your mood and emotion. And I just thought that was, pretty important because to me, that's the sign of a true artist. True artist is going to let you know what is going on with them at that moment, and sometimes with a lot of producers, they're just going for hit radio records. And I think that, maybe the emotion is being lost just a little bit. So I just thought
that's a great point.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I just thought that that was just great that you're still making your music based off of how you feel.
Yeah, music is therapeutic to me, man. So I'm like, I can't really express myself well all the time when it comes to like certain feelings. Right. And I've always found like in my life, I'm a lot better now than what I was when I was a teenager and early adult. Right. But it was like, it was one of those things where music was the constant for me. Dope. No matter what, I can get that out and then go on about my day.
Right. Nice, man. Nice. Okay, man. Well, I want to know, and I know the answer to this, I'm sure, because just searching you online, I know that you definitely sell your beats online. But I want to know, what is your opinion on selling and leasing beats online?
So it was something that it was an uphill battle for me. Mm-hmm. It was one of them things where I did not want to lease. But then during that period when I took off from work and I'm selling exclusive beats for $50, exclusive beats for $100. And it was just like, yo, I'm killing myself. Like, I could definitely be licensing these. And that's where I had the leasing mentality, that terminology, I had to get that out of my head. Because when it comes to licensing, there's a whole nother world where it's licensing and you're actually going to video game companies and movie production companies and stuff like that. And of course, you're not going to give just that one company that one beat. Of course, you're going to take it to different places, put it in commercials. Yeah. So when I got the mindset to, that's really how the world works, it was a lot easier for me to be like, okay, well, I'm going to license my beat to artists.
Dope. Awesome. Okay. That's a different way to look at it, and I never looked at it that way. Thanks for sharing that, man. It's like,
yeah, absolutely,
licensing your beats to artists. That's what's up, man. Okay. All right, man. Wow, that's a different spin and take on it, and it definitely shifts the perspective on leasing. Because I think it just, when you mention leasing, I mean, there's just it's just not, it's frowned upon to some people.
There's a certain stigma on it,
right? Yeah, for sure, man. But when you describe it that way, man, it kind of cleans it up a little bit. So.
Right, and it's a huge marketing tool too. I'm like, the more your name is out there, the more people are gonna know you.
Right, that's true. So I gotta ask you this, because some people that don't do it because they don't want their name to be associated with it, because they don't want to have that label on them, because I hear that you have, some people feel like they have to be one or the other, either chasing placements or leasing. But it sounds like you have a different take on that.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those things where you kind of have to get out your own head. And the reason why I say that is because an industry that totally frowned upon the leasing game and the type beat game and all of that is now doing the same exact thing.
Right.
Like producers that were frowning upon this now have a platform, not BeatStars, not Airbit. They created their own platform to where now they can lease beats. And I'm talking like, this is top cats that's getting placements with major artists.
Right.
And now and it was just like a huge shift to where I was just like, yo, like something like, the industry is catching on. And yes, it's mad late, but the industry is definitely catching on. I'm like, when you look at producers like the Internet Money team and the Cash Money APs, like they're killing it now.
Yeah, they are.
And it started from constant beat uploads on YouTube, constant. And when you put it to you like this, it was constant content that was being delivered that got them at a point to where now they're partnered with the labels. Like, they didn't go there and accept a handout. They went there and got a partnership.
Wow.
So they're not controlled by the label. They can still do exactly what they're doing, but now it's a partnership.
Wow, I didn't know.
A lot of times when you don't have, see, what they did was they gained that leverage. To where it was like, yo, I have something going for myself already.
Right.
I necessarily don't need y'all, so what can y'all offer? And then that's where the partnership comes in the hand.
Right. Wow, that's awesome, man. Wow.
Yeah, but
because I mean, when I saw Taz Taylor was on the new Drake album,
that was a super win for the online producer community.
Yeah, it was, man. And then just seeing, the other placements he has and the plaques he has is just, he Like you said,
shout
it
out
was a super
Taz.
win. Yeah, definitely. Shout out Taz, man. Changing the game for sure. So, okay, man. Well, what's a plugin that you think every producer should have in their arsenal?
A plugin everyone should have.
Plugin or VST?
The obvious answer is going to be Omnisphere, but I won't say that one.
Good.
I'll give you one. Yeah, I'll give you one for mixing. T-Rex Classic Clipper.
Okay.
And I say that one because I'm not a FL guy at all. But FL drums knock different than every other DAW that's out there. Classic Clipper is definitely one of those things that help your drums to hit harder.
Dope. Okay, Classic Clipper. Man, now I feel like I need to download T-Rex. I definitely need to make a purchase on that. So, okay. All right, man. Well, what's a book that you think every producer should read? And it doesn't have to be music related.
A book that every producer should read. I gotta look up the exact title because I haven't read this book in a while. One sec.
Yeah,
What is the name of that book? All right. It's Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk.
Nice. Okay. Very familiar with that book. And he just released Crushing It.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that one yet, but that Crush It book, that thing was a awesome. That was when I first got introduced to Gary, and his books, all of his books, the Ask Gary V book, the Crush It book. I'm definitely gotta grab the Crushing It book because I'm like, all of his stuff. The thing I like about Gary is he's very direct.
Yep.
He doesn't beat around the bush at all, even to the language that he used. Like it's very real.
Right.
And he puts all of the responsibility on you.
Right.
And I love that about him. So yeah, Crush It by Gary V.
Dope. That's what's up, man. Well, Beat Grinders, if you guys haven't read that, you definitely need to read that. It's definitely a part of my library. So thank you, Logic to Beatman, for that recommendation.
Oh yeah.
And Beat Grinders, you guys, if you guys have heard this show before, you guys already know that you can definitely go get a free audiobook through audible.com if you go to beatsbooks.com. So go check that out, and I'm pretty sure that they have that book available. So go to beatsbooks.com and claim your free book. All right, man. What do you think? What's an internet resource that you think every producer could benefit from? And when I say internet resource, I mean like a website or a mobile app.
So definitely Beats Grinding Life.
Dope.
That was the obvious answer, right?
Of course. Thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. This platform is crazy. Like I love the interviews. That's one. Definitely check out. Of course, YouTube. I'm like the Pensado's Place.
Yeah. For sure.
Internet Money for certain tutorials. Even though a lot of them are FL tutorials, if you're not a FL producer, you can still take a lot of the stuff that they're doing in FL and translate it.
Yeah.
So Pensado's Place, Internet Money, Recording Revolution. That's not even for production on the mixing side. That is, he dropped a lot of gems.
Nice.
Websites, futureproducers.com.
Nice.
It's a forum, and I've been on there for years, like since 2004, 2003.
Same here, man.
They're super dope. Ill Mind had Black Chat. Love that podcast too.
Yes.
Trying to think what else my go-tos. I think that's about it.
Man, well, those are some great ones right there, man. All right, man. Well, I want to know, what was your first placement, and can you describe the feeling of getting that placement? There's guys on here that are still searching for that first placement, and maybe your story can inspire us just to go a little harder to get it.
So my first placement, first placement was with Atiba Halisi.
Nice.
who at the time went under a different name. He was like the first artist to really take interest in my work, and that's somebody I'm like, that's my partner. Like, we got a whole collective together and everything.
Cool.
But and he's actually about to drop a project on Tuesday, so make sure y'all look out for that. It's called 33.
33.
Yeah, that thing is gonna be crazy. I did 90% of the album.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. But the first one that really took off was Shawn Smith.
Yeah.
That one, yeah, it was a whole different experience. Got introduced to him, and this falls back to, and this keeps coming up in our conversation, just the networking and the relationships that last long. So like my bass player Sean Lowe, he introduced me to a producer by the name of Joe Nice. Shout out to Joe. Literally came to the crib during that year that I took off. We're building, doing stuff, just playing beats, not even collabing on anything.
Okay.
A year and a half goes by. Joe hits me up. Yo, we got to work on stuff. At this time, I'm married, in my own place, got my own home studio. Like, so we're working. Shawn Smith comes to the apartment to record something for something that they're working on. And the first thing that he says to me after he hears something that me and my brother Khalil was working on was, yo, have you worked with any artists in Philly? And I'm like, yo, I have, but I'm definitely looking to work with some more. So he goes, interesting. And then that was it. That was it. Like, that was the end of the conversation, right?
Right.
Fast forward, Charlie Heat has a beat battle, and this is like his volume 2 of the beat battle.
Okay.
And Joe was actually in that camp, House of 99. So he told me about it, and I was just like, yo, I'm an enter. And I had already did the I Standard John twice. I lost the first time, won the second time. And then the Charlie Heat John came around, so I'm just like, all right, like, I gotta come with some heat, because Charlie Heat, Critical, he's a part of the what's the name of the collective? Yeah, I'm drawing a blank, but he's under the collective with Cardiac.
Okay.
And then I'm so mad I'm forgetting the other guy's name, but he was the A&R for 300. I forget his name off top, but I knew just off of the judges alone I had to come with that heat.
Right.
So I killed that beat battle, like,
dope.
Destroyed at that beat battle. And guess who was in the crowd? Shawn Smith.
Nice.
So after hearing what I did that night, he was on Joe, like, yo, I gotta work with him. You gotta set it up. And then fast forward a couple days later, and the first track we make is Get in the Boat, which is like one of the standout records on his album.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. That's a great story right there, man. Wow. Just like you said, networking, putting yourself out there, the beat battle, I mean, all of that, just you being proactive, and man, made all that happen for you, man. That's what's up, man. I think there's some definite lessons in there, man. So thank you for that story, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. Well, want to know, man, what is your favorite song that you ever produced?
Favorite song that I ever produced? It's hard to pick one, bro.
Not bad.
It's hard to pick one. One of the standout ones is Just Swim.
Okay.
By Shawn Smith.
Nice.
It was definitely one of them. It was just different. Like it, and the feedback that I've gotten is that it's so Philly. Like it definitely has a neo soul vibe to it. Dope. And then the change up in it is just, that's a whole nother conversation. But that's one of my favorites. By Atiba Halisi, he has a interlude called Fiend's Interlude. That thing is nuts. And that was one of them beats where I didn't like it at all, and I was about to throw it away. And he happened to be in the studio right before I was about to hit delete, because like I said, I go off of emotion. Right. So if I'm not feeling it, I'm not saving it.
Right. Okay.
And I people have been in the studio with me before. I will literally make 4 beats in front of you and delete all of them, and then that 5th one is going to be crazy.
That makes me cringe, man.
Yo, I
makes me
do.
cringe.
I do. If I'm not feeling it, yo, I'm just, it's out of here. And I'll still be in the same session.
Right.
Just Command A, delete, and start working on a whole nother vibe. But that was one of them tracks, Fiend's Interlude. He was like, yo, you got to give me this, like, export it now.
That's what's up.
And I sent it to him, and yeah, he destroyed that beat.
Wow. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. That's a great story right there. You know what? I heard, I can't remember which guest told me this, but I heard that Havoc almost deleted Shook Ones.
Oh, snap. Seriously?
Yeah, that's the story that I heard.
Imagine if that happened.
Yeah, I know, man. I know, that's one of the greatest beats ever.
That's wild. You know how many times I freestyled on that beat?
Yeah, I know, right? So, man, I just hope that you haven't deleted any classics, any, songs that could have been classics, man. So.
Bro, you're making me think now, like, god dang. Did I delete a Shook Ones? Like,
yeah, right. Oh, man.
Dang.
Oh,
that's
man.
wild. I did not know that.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I'm definitely taking that one with me.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, man. Well, I want to know what's an album besides one that you worked on that you recommend every producer listen to? And
listen
why?
to Enter the 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang.
Yeah, nice, man. Nice. That's a classic right there.
The grittiness, like just rawness of that album. Nice. It's unmatched. It's unparalleled to anything else that you'll ever hear. Yep.
I mean, it was then and it still is now, which is crazy, man.
Yep.
That's what's up, man. Okay. All right. What producers are on your Mount Rushmore? I just want you to imagine that we had to take all the faces off.
Oh, snap.
And you got to put 4 producers up on Mount Rushmore. Who are they going to be?
4 producers? Oh, man, this isn't fair. This isn't fair. Dilla's definitely in the middle.
Okay, for sure, man.
Pharrell.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, this is tough.
Yeah, it is.
This is really tough. Those two for sure.
I hate to be in your seat right now, man.
Those two for sure. I bet you haven't gotten this one. Mantronics.
No, I haven't. And we have not heard Mantronics on here.
Mantronics definitely has to go up there. He's definitely one of the most slept on. 100%. But
I got some homework to do. I'm a producer connoisseur. I don't know who Mantronics is. So can you just explain
Mantronics
to
is
me
the OG.
Excuse my ignorance, but who is Mantronics?
Yeah, Mantronics is definitely a OG in the game. Matter of fact, I'm about to pull up his whole catalog.
Dope.
Yeah, so Needle to the Groove is definitely one.
Okay.
But he was infamous for the 303.
Okay.
The Rolling 303. Wait, was that Rolling? Yeah, Rolling 303.
Okay.
He took that bassline module machine and just went crazy with it.
Wow.
But yeah, he's definitely up there. Dang. This is tough.
You got one more, man, and the last one is the hardest.
Yeah, the last one is the hardest because I don't want to count nobody out.
Right.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna start over. Mm-hmm. So we definitely going to put definitely got to put Dilla up there.
Yep.
We're definitely 100% putting Swiss up there.
Okay.
100% gotta put Q-Tip up there.
Ooh, nice.
And my 4th gotta be Timbaland.
Nice.
Yeah, that gotta be my 4.
Oh man, that's a dope combo of producers right there, man. I mean, Dilla, Swizz, Q-Tip, Timbaland. That's dope. I mean, 3 out of the 4 are mentioned on here a lot for that question. But Q-Tip, man, Q-Tip was definitely a legendary producer. I mean,
people don't know he did a lot of records.
A lot of records,
like a lot of your favorite records,
right.
Like he was a part of.
Yep, for sure, man. I mean, you know, not only just his own stuff with Tribe Called Quest, and not only his solo stuff, you know, I mean, like Janet Jackson, and then, you know, he was on Illmatic, you know, classic album, what we say is one of the best albums of all time, you know. So, and I'm sure, you know, there's other stuff that I'm not able to mention right now just because I'm not thinking about it, but like I want to, but man, I mean, Q-Tip definitely is a producing legend, so.
Yeah, 100%. He had stuff on the Mobb Deep albums.
Yep. Oh man.
He had stuff with Busta Rhymes, The Roots, Cypress Hill.
I didn't even know Cypress Hill. Wow.
Yeah. He
definitely a legend right there, man. So
100%.
Yeah, I mean, from what I hear, his production kind of switched up and never sound the same after that Studio Fire. You know, so but
I forgot about that.
Yeah, man. But he had to reinvent himself, you know, and so his production style went a different way, but it was still dope and classic music, man.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, man. Well, I want you to imagine, man, that you just walked out of the Perfect Studio session, and in that Perfect Studio session, you had one artist, one co-producer to go along with yourself, one engineer, and one random person. Who are those 4 people going to be?
All right, so you got to give me the 4 people again because that was like really quick.
Yep.
So you said one artist, one co-producer, one engineer, and one random person. And one random person. All right. The artist would be, and this could be any artist or just an artist that I'm working with currently.
Yeah, man, it's your dream session.
My dream session?
Yeah, any artist. So if it's a dream, it's not real. So any artist from any era of all time, dead or alive.
Dead or alive. Okay. It would definitely be dream session. The artist would be so many names. All right, the artist will be Childish Gambino.
Wow. Okay.
The co-producer would be Pharrell. No, excuse me. The co-producers will be the Neptunes.
Nice. I like that answer even better.
That's kind of cheating because I get more than one. But the Neptunes. The engineer would be I can't get Dave Pensado out of my head. I don't think I would pick Dave for this one, although the engineer would be 40.
Nice. Okay. Oh, wow.
No, matter of fact, I'm changing it up. The engineer would be mixed by Ali.
I had a feeling you're gonna say that.
Yep,
nice.
100%. Yeah, definitely would be mixed by Ali. And the random person would be Jaden Smith.
Wow. Okay. I like.
Oh yeah, Childish Gambino, the Neptunes, mixed by Ali, and Jaden Smith.
That's a dope session right there.
Yo,
man.
Can you imagine that session?
I can imagine that session,
man. Oh my gosh, that would be crazy.
That would be crazy, man. I mean, Jaden Smith is, you know, an up-and-coming artist himself, so he would definitely be able to contribute. You got Childish Gambino, who is so versatile. You know, he's definitely made a name for himself as far as a singer, well-accomplished rapper. You and the Neptunes together, you 3, I'm sure would come up with some crazy track, and then mixed by Ali on the boards, man. And all these people are active and alive, man. So I really do hope that it happens for you, man. I mean,
fingers crossed, man.
Yes, definitely. Fingers crossed, knocking on wood, man. That's
absolutely
what's up. All right, man. Well, that's nuts, man. Wow. Okay. How are we gonna transition on to the next question? I don't know,
Cool.
but let's do it, man. All right, man. If you woke up and you lost everything that you had except for your knowledge and $1,000, what would you do in the next week to restart your career?
They don't call me the Beatman for nothing.
True. Definitely got to buy a computer.
Mm-hmm. Now, how would you go about that? Would you buy a used computer? Would you buy a computer on eBay, like you did your
If I only got
MPC or-
1,000,
Beatman for nothing.
I would probably
Pawn
I would
shop?
probably get a new one. I would get a Mac, but it wouldn't be like a laptop. It would have to be a desktop. I would probably get a Mac Mini because they're so affordable.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Would definitely get that.
Mm-hmm.
Would get a some form of MIDI keyboard. Don't know which one. Whatever one has the least amount of latency
Nice.
and is the most affordable.
Okay.
And I would rock out with that. Use the rest to put some food in me. Like,
Yeah, man, no doubt. I mean, that Mac Mini would already have like GarageBand on it. I mean, that's not the best, but it's enough to get you started.
Yeah.
It's like Logic's little brother.
Yeah.
So,
and the good thing with me, and I'm like, this is a cheat, I guess, but I have a cloud service that backs up everything.
well, I mean,
So,
it's just
yeah,
too
all I
bad
would
that
need
you
is a
lost-
computer.
It's just too bad that you lost everything, though. So your cloud service isn't there.
Dang, the cloud service went up in the flames.
Oh man. But you know, I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't have a hard time getting back on your feet, man.
Nah, not at all. Not at all.
Then I was gonna be real anal and be realistic and say if you get a Mac Mini, then you gotta buy a screen, you gotta buy a monitor. But I'm not gonna
Right.
go there, man. But
Dang, I didn't even think of all that. I didn't even think. So I guess I'm gonna have to get a PC then. Get a PC laptop, get a little HP, and rock out. Like spend $300, $400.
Nice.
Start a payment plan with Ableton.
Nice. Okay.
And yeah, because that's the one thing too, and that's another gem for producers and artists listening that could take away from this. If you don't know about Zounds
Right.
or American Music Supply, then you've been under a rock. They are the two services that you can split up your purchase into payments, and there's no credit check.
I didn't know that. That was the only thing that kept me from even attempting to
Yeah,
get
so with
anything from
Sweetwater, you have to get their credit card, so
Right.
they run your credit. But with Zounds, and Zounds is a company that I've used for years. I'm like, that's where I bought my first M Audio key station from. It was $100. The key station at the time, I think it still is $100. Split that joint up into 4 payments.
Nice.
Spent $25 that day, the tax and shipping and handling, and then they mail it to you.
Nice.
And you get it in your hand. You get it's called the pay as you play plan. Yeah, there's no credit check at all. You just have to have a debit card, and that's it. And I built such a relationship with them that they called me asking me, "Yo, what do you want?"
Man, you're about to have me up on there today, bro. Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
actually, because I don't have Omnisphere yet. It's something I've slept on for a while, and that's going to be my next purchase. And they actually have an 8 payment plan where you pay $60 a month until you
Wow.
pay that joint off. Like, you can't beat that.
Yeah, you
Instead of
can't.
paying the $500 for it.
Right. Wow. I
Yeah.
will be up on there today. There's so much stuff I want to get. Wow.
And that's ZOUNDS.com.
Okay. Well, thank you, man. That's definitely another gem right there. All right, man.
Yep.
Well, the reason why I asked you that crazy question is just because, you know, there's there's people that want to become producers, that want to become beat makers and only have a limited amount of money. And so, you know, your answer hopefully will lead them into the right direction and get them going on their beat making path. So
And you don't need a whole lot. Like, you don't need a whole lot at all. And the
Right.
things that you do need that are essential, of course, a computer. Either you build one or you buy one.
Right.
Like, it is what it is. It's still going to be a big chunk of the money that you're going to spend.
Right.
But besides that, your interface, your MIDI keyboard, your controller, the software, everything else that you would need, you can split it up into payments.
Nice, dope. That's what's up. Okay. All right, man. Well, thank you for that, man. That's enough. That's definitely a gem right there.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, I want to know about legacy, man. When it's all said and done, man. When it's time for you to hang it up, man. What do you want your legacy to be? And what does legacy mean to you?
I definitely just want my production to live on. Like, I definitely want to be known as a producer that did it their way and made it with being true to their own sound.
Right. Nice.
And yeah, legacy means everything, because I'm like, I have a daughter now, so I definitely need her to benefit from my legacy. So that's why I'm going even harder than what I was going before.
Nice, man. That's what's up, man. I mean, you know, I thought of Dilla when you mentioned all that, you know, just because you found out who he was after he passed away and his music still living on, and you caught on to his music, you know, a little late, but now he's he's up there as far as one of your biggest idols, one of your biggest influences. Yeah. And so, I mean, can you imagine if that happened, if you had that impact on someone else after you left this earth? That would be amazing, man.
Yeah.
Or not just someone else, but a whole bunch of people. Like
I really hope that that's the case.
Yeah, man. That's what's up, man. Well, I definitely hope that you get to that level, man. So, all right, man.
Thank you.
What's the greatest piece of advice that you've received, and what advice would you have for all the beat grinders listening today?
Great piece of advice that I received. It's definitely stay true to your sound and don't be out here doing what everybody else is doing.
Nice. I like that.
And that same piece of advice that was given to me, I would pass on to other producers. Even if you're going for a certain genre, you have to find a way to make it your own. Right. You have to find a way to differentiate yourself from everybody else.
Right.
Gotta find your niche.
Yep. That's what's up, man. And it's not that easy, you know, especially like you said, the production game is oversaturated. So that's why it's important to be your own producer. But wow, man, thank you for that advice. You know, I mean, there's so many waves that people are trying to hop on, and you know, sounding like yourself is just not as prevalent in the production game right now. But, thank you for that, man. All right, man. Well, if you have any more words for the listeners, man, if you want to let them know what they should be looking out for, or what they should be listening to that you've already released, please let them know, and also how to contact you if you want to be contacted.
Yeah, absolutely. So on every single social media, it's at Logic the Beatman. That's LOGICDABEATMAN. Instagram is where I'm like real heavy on, and YouTube as well. But everything is Logic the Beatman. Stuff to look out for: Atiba Halisi. It definitely is about to drop a project within the next couple of days. It's called 33. Definitely listen to Shawn Smith, Sink or Swim. Album is crazy, and that's about it.
Dope, man. All right, well, we'll definitely be on the lookout for that be listening to Sink or Swim, and be on the lookout for 33, man. So
Yeah.
beat grinders definitely do that. And man, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. You definitely provided some gems, man. You
I appreciate
definitely
it.
sent me on the right path, because now I'm going to be searching for some equipment and software because of you.
Yeah, man.
But thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for coming on the show, man, and just providing value, man, to this community.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, man. Like this was a blast. I had a lot of fun.
Same here.
Definitely threw a lot of curveballs at me. Like I was not expecting some of those questions, man.
For sure, man. For sure, man. Well, we like to keep you on your toes just a little bit. Some of the questions are pretty easy, man, but
Yeah.
definitely want to challenge you just a little bit. So
That Mount Rushmore question was crazy.
for sure, man. All right, man. Well, thank you, man, and Beat Grinders. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Beats Grinding Life. If you guys like the show, if you found any value from the show, please tag me, tag Logic the Beatman. Let him know what you got out of it, and just share the show. Share it on all your favorite platforms. Let everyone else know about the show. That helps it grow. You guys know how it goes. You've been mentored by Logic the Beatman, so keep grinding, keep making beats, and keep living life. All right, peace, y'all.
All right, peace.
Here at Beats Grinding Life, we want to thank you for listening to another episode. We want to know, what were your biggest takeaways from this interview? Just go to beatsgrindinglife.com and leave a comment on this episode's show notes page. Also, while you are there, go subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Just click the little button that says subscribe. If you could, please leave a rating and review. Rating and reviews are the best way to show your appreciation, because it helps more people find out about the podcast. So until next week's episode, keep grinding.